Hello, sixth graders. We are now adding and subtracting linear expressions. So let's go over first what a linear expression is. A linear expression is an algebraic expression in which the exponent of the variable is 1. Now, in our little chart here, you will see that the linear expressions would be negative 4x, 3x plus 5, and 5 minus 1/6 x. Notice here that our nonlinear expressions are as follows, and it gives 3 examples. You'll notice that each of these variables in the linear expression, this x right here, that has an expression of negative 4x, and the variable x has an exponent of 1. Here, 3x has an exponent of 1. Here, on the x, there's an exponent of 1. Here we have exponents of 2, 3, and 5. Therefore, they're nonlinear. Now, you can use a vertical or a horizontal method to add linear expressions. So this is your choice. You can pick either way you would like to add them or subtract them. So vertical and horizontal methods, there's 2 different ways, you get to pick one. So let's start with this problem. So example number 1. I want you to find the sum of x minus 2 and 3x plus 8. So now, if we add these together, we're going to do it first vertically. When you add them vertically, you're going to align the like terms vertically and add. Make sure you always align the like terms. So I'm going to take x minus 2 and add to that 3x plus 8. And now we just add them together. Negative 2 plus 8 gives me 6, and positive 6. And then 1x, remember there's always a 1 as the coefficient of a variable. 1x plus 3x gives me 4x. So the sum would be 4x plus 6. Now why can I not add that together and get 10x? Because they're not like terms. So make sure you only combine like terms. Now this is vertically. So I'm going to write vertically next to that. Now, if you write them horizontally, and I'm just going to rewrite it, x minus 2 plus 3x plus 8. You can look at this and say, okay, using the commutative property, I can rewrite these as 1x plus 3x minus 2 plus 8. Now, you don't have to show that step. You can skip it and just say, okay, well, x and 3x, they're like terms. That would give me 4x. And negative 2 and positive 8 would give me positive 6. And that would give me the same answer. Now, be careful, though. I see a lot of students that actually, when they combine the coefficients, they look at this as 2 plus 8 and put negative 10. This is negative 2 plus 8. So we just used a horizontal method of putting these together. So this is horizontal. Either way, you can do this. It's up to you. So we're going to call this example A. So now let's combine this one together. Negative 4y plus 3 and 11y minus 5. I want you to find the sum. So if you're looking at this, some people think, well, there's parentheses, I have to multiply. No. There's nothing in front of this parenthesis and this parenthesis. So you can just rewrite it without the parentheses. Negative 4y plus 3 plus 11y minus 5. You can rearrange them if you would like by using the commutative property of addition. But what I do is I underline like terms. So those are your like terms. So negative 4y plus 11y gives us what? It gives us 7y. And then 3 minus 5 gives us negative 2. So our answer would be 7y minus 2. I want you to write down example C, and then I want you to pause the video and do it yourself. All right, so if you did this correctly, your answer would be negative 3. That's it. Now, how'd you get that? Well, if we're looking at it, negative 8z, positive 8z, that means they're going to cancel. You get 0z, so that's gone. And then you take 4 minus 7, which gives us the answer of negative 3. Now in example number 2, we're still going to do the same thing. We are still going to add linear expressions. However, we're going to make it harder, because that's always fun. So now we have the expression 2 times the sum of negative 7.5z plus 3 added to 5z minus 2. So the first thing we have to do is we have to use distributive property to get rid of the 2 times. Now, this is something that students always find this easy, but it's the easiest way to make a mistake as well. So make sure you take 2 times both terms, or 2 times every term that's inside the parenthesis. So we're going to take 2 times negative 7.5z, which gives us negative 15z. Then we take 2 times 3, which gives us plus 6. Notice that when we distributed, the parenthesis is gone. Now, there is nothing here in front of this parenthesis except a 1. Therefore, I don't have to do anything except eliminate the parenthesis and bring down the 5z minus 2. Now we combine like terms. Negative 15z plus 5z gives us negative 10z. 6 minus 2 gives us plus 4. So my expression, simplified, would be negative 10z plus 4. Example B. If you want to pause the video, go ahead and pause it, see if you get your answer, and skip ahead. Now in this problem, we would distribute the 1/2. That would give us 1/2 w minus 3. Then we distribute the 1/4, and that gives us 1/4 w plus 3. Now, combine like terms. 1/2 w plus 1/4 w. Well, that would be 2/4 plus 1/4. That would be 3/4 w. And the negative 3 plus 3 cancel. So my answer would be 3/4 w. All right, now in example number 3, we're going to subtract linear expressions. Now, while this is once again easy, it's very easy to make basic mistakes with the negative. So we're going to start by doing this vertically. So vertically is where we're going to start this. So vertically. And then we're going to do it horizontally. Now, vertically. This is where the mistake happens. We're going to take 5x plus 6, and we are going to subtract negative x plus 6. Now, here's where the mistake happens. You are subtracting everything that is in the parentheses. So you're subtracting a negative x, and you're subtracting a 6. So if you remember what you have to do, you have to add the opposite. Remember, if you do like 5 minus negative 3, 5 minus negative 3 means you're taking 5 plus 3. It's the same thing here. We actually are going to get 5x plus 6. We take and we add the opposite of everything. So we're going to add, what's the opposite of negative x? It's positive x. What's the opposite of positive 6? It's negative 6. We are adding the opposite. So now we go back to the rule of adding, where you combine these together. Well, 6 minus 6, that's nothing. And 5x plus 1x, that gives us 6x. So our answer would be 6x. Now, horizontally. Horizontally, we would simplify by distributing. Now, the distributive property shows us that there's a 1 here. Remember, there's always a 1 in front of anything when we multiply. There's also a 1 in front of here. But if you're distributing a positive 1, nothing changes. But here, you are distributing a negative 1. So you have to take negative 1 times negative x and negative 1 times 6. So this would give us 5x plus 6. A negative times a negative, or a negative 1 times a negative 1, is positive 1x. Negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. We combine like terms. 5x plus 1x gives us 6x. 6 minus 6 gives us 0. So our answer would also be 6x. Why don't you try B on your own and see if you get the same answer that I do? The problem says 7y plus 5, then we're going to subtract 2 times 4y minus 3. Now you can skip ahead and do the problem yourself, or you can follow along. So the first step is bringing down the 7y plus 5. We are now distributing. You are not distributing a 2. You are distributing a negative 2. So be careful. Right there. Negative 2. So if you distribute a negative 2, you would get negative 8y plus 6. A negative times a negative is a positive 6. So now we combine like terms. 7y minus 8y is negative 1y, and 5 plus 6 is plus 11. So my answer would be negative 1y plus 11, or just negative y plus 11. Our last example. The original price of a cowboy hat is $D. You use a coupon and buy the hat for D minus $2. You decorate the hat and sell it for TD or 2D minus $4. Write an expression that represents your earnings from buying and selling the hat. Interpret the expression. Now let's think about it. We are figuring out what our earnings are. So how do you find earnings? You take the selling price, what you sold it for, and you're going to subtract what you purchased it for. So the purchase price. Now hopefully that makes sense. If you buy something, that's your purchase price. If you sell it for more, that's your selling price. We want to know how much we made. So the selling price was 2D minus 4. We then have to subtract, make sure you always remember the parentheses, the purchase price, which is D minus 2. So now we distribute. What do you have to distribute? A negative 1. So that would give us 2D minus 4 minus 1D plus 2. Negative 1 times negative 2. We now combine like terms. 2D minus 1D is just 1D. Negative 4 plus 2, that'd be negative 2. So my answer will be D minus 2. Now you're like, okay, what does this mean? How much did you buy the hat for? You bought the hat for D minus $2. So how much did you make on it? You earned D minus $2. These are the same thing. So what did you do? You doubled your money. Because let's say that this represented $10. You bought the hat for 10, and this means you made $10. Well, that means you sold it for twice as much what you paid for it. So you doubled the money that you spent. That's how much you earned. You doubled it. So you sold it for $20. You bought it for 10. You made $10. Or you could say you bought it for $20. You made $20. That means you sold it for $40. You doubled your money.